one of the huge advantages I think that Marcus Evans gives as compared to a number of the other conferences that we attend is the preparation materials that they give you on the individual. So there's a very detailed DDQ that they provide everyone who's going to attend, and you can really use that to filter through and find out, okay, who has a mandate and an interest in investing in the strategy? Where's there a significant overlap? And that's kind of the initial screening process that you go through. From there, use the general resources that you have. You go to LinkedIn, you figure out if you have any mutual contacts, you figure out what their educational background is. All of them, a lot of people have websites you can go to, look at their bios, their previous histories, and databases, right? Third-party databases that you can use to understand what's prior investments that they've made, and using your own network as well. So in combination, it really provides for a great background to have a successful meeting. Yeah, use that information, I think, to develop a series of questions once you get to the meeting, so that they know you did your background, but really kind of getting a more thorough understanding of what do they need now, what's their investment process like, what's the ideal manager, not only from an investment strategy, but from an operational perspective. How can we make their job easier? So it's a combination of the 30-minute meeting and getting to know them in that way, but also the materials and the DDQ that's provided in advance of the meeting. What I'll do is, introduce myself, try to get to know the person on a personal level a little bit more before you dive right into a strategy, right? Try to understand, where they came from, what's important to them, what they're trying to get out of the meeting, how many times they've been coming to these meetings, and really kind of establish rapport in that way. And then I usually provide, 30 to 60 second overview on who we are, just very quickly, before asking them questions about, their strategy more broadly, their firm, their investment process, how they allocate to the space, their broader portfolio, and really, spending maybe half the meeting really understanding who they are and what works for them. And then, I'm bringing with me the founder and CEO of my company, and having him talk about why he founded the company, really not only, what we're seeing in, the market or a specific portfolio, but really what makes us different, what gives us an edge and our sustainable competitive advantage as we see it over time. And that naturally transitions to an additional meeting offsite afterwards to talk in more granularity about whatever our fund offering is. What we do is we try to be very clear on what our timeline is, right? And I start the meeting by telling them, like I said, in that 30 to 60 seconds, I'm telling them, listen, we're a real estate private equity firm. We're in the market for this long. This is when we're having our final close. And really establishing an understanding of when they would need to make a decision by. So that's kind of how and then kind of going into what they'd have access to. We're in a fortunate position where we, have a final close coming up, but we also have a highly identified portfolio. So being able to let them know that they're going to have immediate access and be able to discuss the deals that they're going to have access to, I think really provides that scarcity or that interest, if there is mutual interest. And if there's not, then we both know we can move on. I always say I would rather have a quick no and move on, and establish, you can establish those relationships over time, and I'm in the business of business development, right? So if I can help them in any way possible, those things come back to you, right? If you're not just trying to sell something. It's very important for us to, ensure that we're all both on the same page, where what they want and what they're looking for is what we do. And I think that's what we're trying to flush out, right? And like I said, we're just as happy to find out. Obviously, we'd love everybody we spoke to want to do exactly what we want to do. But Marcus Evans is great at setting up. We have 13, 14 meetings. We're looking for 2 or 3 investors, right? So if we can very quickly figure out who the highest probability of those 2 or 3 investors are, that's where we can focus our time, right? So finding out who those 2 are, making sure that overlap exists, and then setting definitive next steps, I think is what we're looking for. What we try to be very focused on is establishing a follow-up where we can do something in person, right? So yes, we're based in Tampa, but we met somebody from Pittsburgh. We're doing a multifamily development in Pittsburgh. We're going to be there in a couple of months. Let's sit down, let's have a coffee, let's have a beer. It doesn't even need to be about the fun, but establishing that in-person next meeting. We have somebody in Boston that we just met. Our head of hospitality is based in Boston. You know, I'm in New York. We had somebody we met in Palm Springs who's down to the Florida Keys every couple of weeks. We have a business based in the Florida Keys and know that market, and we're down there at least once a month. So trying to find that next definitive step to meet in person, I think is the ultimate goal. If that can't be done, or if it seems like a low probability, establishing, you know, a Zoom call or follow-up with a Teams meeting is a secondary goal. It's about getting people's, you know, more than just an email address. I want somebody's cell phone. You know, I want to know also. So I want to know what they're interested in outside of just our product, right? In the broader market, you know, I found out, you know, somebody's interested in skiing, or somebody's, you know, kid goes to school in Taiwan, or something to that effect. So I can find this connection where, you know, instead of just sending them an update on our fund, you know, I see something interesting in the news, or I have something relevant from my personal experience, and I can tell the team. Establishing that level of rapport, it makes it more enjoyable for that person to talk to you on a go-forward basis, as opposed to just hearing another sales pitch. So I think trying to find that connection outside of just this immediate business opportunity can be incredibly helpful in terms of developing that relationship and solidifying that second meeting. I mean, it's going to give you free insight into what they're thinking, how they look at the market, what's important to them. I mean, there's literally a panel on how to select great managers. And when you're going to be meeting somebody who's sitting on that panel and they're telling you how they select great managers before they meet with you, I mean, it's a no-brainer to take that and, you know, incorporate it into what you're going to be talking to them about, obviously while staying true to who you are.